Factor completely. 3x to the third minus 6x squared minus 5x plus 10. So since we have 4 terms and none of these 4 terms have something completely in common, we want to use the method of factor by grouping. So we would group it with 3x to the third minus 6x squared for our first grouping, and then plus our second grouping would be a negative 5x plus 10. Now let's take a look at this first grouping, and notice we can simplify this more by pulling out what this grouping has in common, and notice that each is divisible by a 3x squared. And if we divide by 3x squared, we would need an x minus 2 for this pairing. Plus, now we want to notice that each of these in this grouping is divisible by 5. However, if we just pull out a 5, we would need a negative x plus 2 on the inside here. But notice that now we were trying to get the inside of these parentheses to be equal, and notice that they are not equal because we have a positive x in one and a negative x in the other, and then a negative 2 in one and a positive 2 in the other. So what we're really going to do is, on this second grouping, we are going to divide each of these terms by a negative 5 instead. So this is now going to become plus a negative 5, and if we divide it out by a negative 5, we'd get x minus 2 now, because then we'd have a negative 5 times a negative 2, which would give us that positive 10. And notice now that our parenthesis groupings are equal. So now to continue our factoring, for each of our groupings we want to pull out what we divided each out and put that in our first grouping. So we have 3x squared minus 5 times the common parenthesis grouping on each of them. So times an x minus 2 for our final answer. So notice our final answer would be C.